Hey. Hello, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. Good morning. Good afternoon to some of you that are on the East Coast. Good morning if you're on the West Coast. Let me know who you are in the chat. If you're joining me on um, YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're going to be live again. You don't want to miss the live information that I share out. If you're joining me on Facebook, be sure to, tag me, share it out to someone else, tag a friend that this topic would be a blessing to. Good afternoon. Hi. But don't forget to hit the StreamYard link if you're joining on Facebook so I can see your name. Um, Good morning, Larry. Hi, Larry. Larry says this is his bread and butter. You own a video production company, so super awesome. I have some really good nuggets that I'm going to be sharing with you all today. Hi, Evangelist Tamika. Hello. Hi, Twan. Hi, Tawanda. Hi, Trey. Hello, everyone. So thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to be talking about government contracts for video production companies. This is a very special niche that I love to talk about. Thank you so much for joining me in today's live, the Friday live, where I'm going to be sharing, secret strategies and industry tips on government contracts for small business owners. If you haven't figured it out by now, government contracting is one of the biggest kept secrets that can help you significantly grow your business. And I'm going to share with you some inside tips for today. Hi, Cheryl. Is it Cheryl? Charlie. Hi, Charlie. I hope I said that right. Hi, Ashantis. So cool. So I'm Karwana D. I'm a government contract strategist. I teach women and minority small business owners how to grow their business with government contracts, so they can grow significant revenues and have regular paying income and have consistent sustainable income and get paid top dollars for the services that they're selling, right? And so I do that by revealing what I coin and what I call the $1 trillion secret to government contracts. Years ago, when I discovered this, the epiphany of government contracting, and that even a solopreneur, a very small micro business, has the option to sell their services to the government and really build a lucrative business. My thoughts were, why don't everybody know about this? Why don't everybody, understand the power behind knowing how to sell your services to the government? And so that's what I made it my job to become the expert and the strategist. And it's not just something that I talk about, but it's something that I actually do. And so I'm happy to share my expertise. Hi, Lisa. Cannot access. I don't know what that means. Two Wavy Productions. Can't wait for this info. I own a production company as well. So cool. So welcome. Kudos. Yeah. So I'm really passionate about this topic today because I have a multimedia company myself as well. And so video production services is one of the services that I actually sell to the government. So I'm really going to bring it. I'm really going to share with you all my experience and what's out there so you can really see, right? Because people are out here playing. People are out here playing. I'm just saying, everybody thinks that, just because you have a camera, now you're a video producer. We have all these young teens and young people out here shooting videos for like $300. I'm like, you messing up the game. You messing up the game, bruh. Let me show you how to make some real money, right? So today I want to share 10 types of video productions services that you can sell to the government part-time while building a multiple six-figure business. So you have your time, but you're making real money selling these services to the government. So you can generate multiple six figures on a very less than part-time basis. And there's 10 main types of video services that you can sell. I'm going to reveal that today. So again, this topic, of course, is one that I'm very passionate about because this is something that I do. And let me see. So y'all ready for it? Thank you so much. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for being here. So cool. So y'all ready for it? So I'm gonna just start with my top 10 list. So if you're in production and you're tired of struggling, or maybe you haven't really found a way to build a sustainable business doing what you do, but you're very passionate about it. And maybe this is something that you're doing part-time while you're working full-time for somebody else because you haven't found a way to fire your boss. You haven't found that reliability in your business just yet to be able to fire your boss, but the information that I'm going to share with you will not only prepare you for that transition, but it's going to empower you with information, because these are things that, of course, we don't think about. So when it comes to video production, of course, ideally you think about, things like documentary stories or maybe commercial, right? But I'm going to show you some key services that I know that the government actually buys and purchases when it comes to video production, but also these individual services could land you 75,000 a pop. And we all know, you know what I mean, like if you're talking about like government, we're talking about 5-minute videos, right? Of course, it may take you 6 hours to edit down that 5-minute video, but still, we're talking about, 50 to 75,000 a pop or more, depends, right? So anyway, the first type of video production service that you can sell to the government is special event video. Okay. So what type of special events am I talking about? There's retirements, right? So there's government agencies, positions like high positioned employees that's been there forever. They retire, they have events. And most of these events, they want to capture in a special way. And normally it's through photography, but also video production. And so definitely retirements, there's inaugurations. Is it just geared toward media services? So the title for today, it says government contracts for video production. The information applies, like the strategies and the system to get in position to sell your services can apply to any business, does not matter. But this one is particularly geared towards video production companies, as the title says there. So inaugurations, right? So anytime there's inaugurations, there's birthday parties or anything. So special event video is something that you can actually sell to the government, right? Sell government, to government agencies. And so there's going to be some ways in that I'll share some tips and some ways in at the end. But number 2 is time-lapse video. So anytime you see infrastructure changing in your city, that's an opportunity for you to capture that, right? Of course, whether it's the highways being, rebuilt or something going up, there's new development. There's, old monumental buildings being torn down. Of course, time-lapse video is a big one, right? And you can actually, I think, actually, I want to talk about, yeah. So I think like the first time-lapse video I probably had was for like a 6-month period of like, steel erection. And I think it was, it was a nice sizable figure, about 6 figures or whatever. So, so definitely time-lapse video is a service that you can actually sell to the government. And number 3, and here's a big one, right? Because we're talking about racism and we're talking about all the things that's happening in society today. Of course, the government wants to show that they have diversity and inclusion, right? Whether it's on their workforce, whether it's on their construction projects, whether it's wherever in their programming, right? They want to show diversity and inclusion. And so diversity and inclusion videos, specialty video, right? This is all specialty types of video so that you can actually offer. So when you're putting together your capability statement or you're putting together your portfolio of like what it is that you want to offer, you can be very specific because, if you just say video production, okay, that's very general. But if you say workforce diversity and special events and, just kind of break it down a little bit, then they know they want to use you because they're familiar with those particular terms. And so number 4 on my list is ribbon cutting ceremonies, right? So ribbon cutting ceremonies and top off ceremonies. So anytime like there's a new hospital happening, and or maybe there's a new something that was built and they're topping off, the steel erection, and they're topping it off with the last piece of steel at the top. All of those things they want to capture by video because that's historical documentation that goes into the archives. And so there's definitely a lot of money in just documenting ribbon cutting ceremonies and helping out with like documenting the top off ceremonies. And right now, a lot of these things are just hybrid, are being done on Zoom. So you go out and film it in the field, and then you just kind of program it for a Zoom ceremony, right? And so that's what's happening like right now during COVID pandemic, where everything is just kind of a little bit different. So you really have to understand that these services are still happening, but they're happening in a different kind of way, right? So number 5, and here's one that I actually got into probably about, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago, that I never even considered, but the government does buy this service, and it's called digital animation. So there's different types of softwares that's like under $100. It's like Toonly and like all of these other different types of software that you can actually grab and create digital animated videos with voiceover, and you can get paid top dollars for that service. So you can actually, unless maybe you're like a Flash animator and you know how to create digital animation from scratch, but there's software that you can actually grab and make it easier and do it faster, right? So why not just invest in like a cheap software where you can actually make tons and tons of money over and over selling digital animation services to the government in that way. So that's 5 out of 10. So next we have community engagement. So this is another type of video service that the government actually purchases because they want to illustrate how well they're engaged with communities, whether it's poor communities. They want to show that their programs are serving a certain communities, whether it's like a food or homeless program. A lot of that stuff they want documented in a way that it serves not only the community by showing that these are the programs that we have and educating the community and showing the impact, but also it serves the agency as well by showing that the money and the funding and the spending and their budget and how they're spending money actually contributes to society. And so community engagement video is another one. Program success stories, that's another one. So if there's a program, let's just say maybe the Office of Economic Workforce Development is doing some type of business remodel, right, in like a area where all the businesses are filled with blight, and maybe the businesses are they look broke down and all their awnings are old and old fashioned looking. Maybe they're going to do a facelift in that particular community. And so in that case, that particular program, right, the just kind of like the resurfacing program or whatever, of course those are some of the things that they want documented, whether by video or photography or whatever, but usually video stories about their programs, right? And so you would just basically be doing in combination between capturing the change over time, which can be a combination of video time lapse, but also a story, but also interviewing some of the key figures basically that are over that particular program and responsibility. So that is another type of service that you can actually sell to the government. Number 8, historical documentary. So there's a lot of buildings that's been around forever that are like monumental, that needs to come down or that will come down, and those types of things has to be documented. And so historical documentary, whether it's maybe a building or maybe there's a change in politicians or whatever that's happening, anytime you can capture history, of course, that comes with great value, right? So that'll make you like a historical documentarist or whatever, to capture that type of history that's happening. But it's definitely something that you can actually sell to the government, in addition to trainings and trainings and workshops. Okay, so trainings and workshops is a big one, right? So every agency has some type of training, whether they're training of how to work with people, whether they're training on a new layout, even I've done training workshops for like the airport where they're training their TSA workers of how to deal with people and what to do, right? So trainings and workshop is a huge one. And every agency, whether it's through the Department of Transportation or the local city, every agency has some type of training. A lot of times they have like retreats, trainings about, dealing with people or dealing with racism in the workplace or workforce, diversity in the workplace. So there's all different types of trainings that happen. And most of the time they want those trainings filmed, as well as, let's just say there's safety, right? So safety trainings or whatever being done, with the CPR agencies or whoever does like emergency safety repair readiness or preparedness or whatever. So within certain agencies, let's say like the Public Utility Commission, they have these types of trainings and workshops about CPR and about what to do in this case, or what if we have a pandemic, how do we respond. And then they have experts that come and teach workshops on it, and those are training opportunities to capture those types of training videos and put together something that they can actually publicize or put on their website for what ifs or how to be prepared. And so trainings and workshop is really good. All right, so let me know if you have any questions along the way. So, and then here's another one. So number 10 on my list, and there's so many others, but of course, due to my limited time today, I'm only sharing like the top 10. But here's another one, maritime stories. So what do I mean by maritime? Anything that has to do with naval, water, right? Anything that has to do with water, right? The seaport, like the ports, the seaports. And some of those stories could be maybe the sea level is going to rise, right? Or maybe there's some businesses that are that exist along the pier, right? That are new, or maybe they're historical, or maybe they're monumental, or a landmark, a historical landmark or something that's been around, and maybe they have programming inside those businesses along the pier, or maybe there's something new happening along the pier. And so the maritime, which is actually managed by, so April says, yes, I have a CPR business. So so maritime story. So the maritime is actually managed and handled through the port. So whatever city you're in, it'll be the port of your city, right? So that's one agency. I've just listed several agencies. I've listed the Public Utility Commission. They have training and workshops. The port, the city port, they have like maritime things that you can actually capture in stories about. I mentioned what else? Office of Economic Workforce Development. They have a lot of things going on with like storefronts and making sure that they beautify the neighborhoods and things of that nature. Your city and county, of course, wherever you are, they have retirements, they have inaugurations, they have birthdays, they have ribbon cutting ceremonies, top off ceremonies. Every agencies, there's so many agencies when you really think about it. And this is something that you probably want to just take a look at, like go to Google and say how many city agencies are in whatever city you're in, and just look at all the different agencies. So all of those agencies have budgets. They all have some type of communications department where they're actually bringing on communication contractors. They also all have percentage delegated to media production, right, which falls under communication, which means that if you are in video production, right, a great strategy, and here's a strategy, right, here's some things that I have learned as a video production company or company myself. Hi, Absolute One. Hi, good day to you too. It don't say your name, just says Absolute One. So anyway, yeah, so some of the strategies that I have learned. So when it comes to video production, and that a lot of times you're not going to see something, you may not see something specific that says video production, right? You may not see a contract, and sometimes you do see contracts that specifically say video production, but most of the time, right, and this is what strategy and opportunities and opening up your mind and understanding your lanes and how to create opportunities for yourself. This is where this come in. So there's communications, or video production falls under communications. It falls under marketing. It falls under advertising, right? And so if you see contracts for communications, that's an opportunity for you to connect with communication companies to provide that scope of work, right? So these are subcontracting angles. And so if you see something for advertising, right, you don't know if that advertising is going to be video or billboards or graphic design, but video production is very key, especially in this day and age. Animation video could be an angle for marketing as well. And so anytime that you see something like that, of course, you want to think about, oh, okay, well, let me connect with the local communication agencies and the local marketing agencies and advertising agencies so I can provide that particular scope, right? And these particular scopes on projects that are like 5 million, like I'm on a communications contract as a sub. Of course, I'm on a communications contract. This is a $5 million contract. You know what I mean? So when you provide a scope on a $5 million contract, you could say your numbers, especially when you have your power. And what I mean by power is, especially when you have your certification as a minority owned business or woman owned business, or you have that power, whatever that goal is on that project, when you can say, oh, I meet that qualification, so I can help you meet the goal on that project. That's your power to get subcontracting opportunities all day long. Okay. So recently in a training, hi Aisha. Recently in a training, I was showing my clients, like, there was a communications contract through, I think it was, I don't know. Oh, it was with a local transportation agency, but the contract was specifically for video production, right? So this is a specifics, which means your angle is going to be priming as a prime contractor on that. If you have a video production company, but the contract was for $110,000, right? So which is pretty cool, because sometimes they give you what their budget is, what they're looking for to spend on that particular project. But other times they'll ask you for a quote. But they'll ask you for a quote either way, but sometimes they'll put a cap on it. They'll say, don't bid above that, right? And so this $110,000, I think it was $110,000. Yeah. So this project was $110,000. And guess what they were looking for? 10 90-second videos. Hello, somebody. Can you do that? 10 90-second videos. So we're talking about 90 seconds is like a minute and a half. So we're talking about 12, 15. We're talking about 15 minutes of video. But of course, you have to keep in mind that 15 minutes of video that you've edited down may have taken you 6 hours per video, but still for $110,000, that's good money. I've also had a client, actually, one of my clients that I was working with and helped to get in position to become a government contractor, and really helped her just kind of grow her business. She was selling individual video production services to, like, people who wanted music videos or like little whatever type whatnot, right? So this is like when you have your production company positioned as a side hustle, right? You do those little bitty $300 or $600 or maybe $500 jobs, right? But the thing about it is, when you know your value, then you know that $300 for all this work, right? And those are the type of clients that are never satisfied, which means that you're going to spend about 30 hours of editing and re-editing and reshooting for that little $600. It's not worth it, right? That is not worth it. And so that's why I say that, when you have a discovery like what I've discovered, you kind of kick the crab in a bucket mentality, and you want to help other people learn this is the real money. Like, we're not going to play with the little $1,200 videos over here. We're going to go after these 10 stacks or higher. I remember not too long ago, there was a video project that I had to do for one of the local agencies here in the city. And this was like, I had to edit down a video. I had to go shoot a video. First of all, I had to go shoot the video and then edit it down to like 3 to 5 minutes. Right. So with the re-edits, because sometimes you get agencies that have what I consider OCD. So they're like, they'll give you what they ask. They'll give you a list of what they want, right? And you go shoot exactly what they want, and then they change it. And before you know it, of a 5-minute video that was a piece of art or a masterpiece will turn into a video slideshow. But guess what? Every time, and that's like my pet peeve, if you haven't noticed, that video piece or masterpiece will turn into a video slideshow because the agency person or key personnel don't really know nothing about video. So now you want to throw in a bunch of pictures, and why didn't you just ask for a slideshow? But anyway, even in that situation, all the times that you have to re-edit, right? And re-edit, you're getting paid for all those hours. You're still getting paid. So what could have been maybe like a $10,000 video is now like $75,000 for this video. Okay, I'll give you your high price slideshow. So I had to learn to just roll with it, just let go of my artiste, my professional video production expectations of what I think somebody should have, and give them what they want. And so a 5-minute video could easily turn into like almost a $70,000-$80,000 video. And I've done it. I've seen it. It's happened to me multiple times, more times than none. And so if you want a picky a picky project, right, you definitely that's worth it and it has value and that you get paid, you definitely want to have picky projects with the government. And so basically those are the top 10 things. I'm just going to quickly recap my list. So we have special events, we have time-lapse video, we have workforce diversity and inclusion video, we have ribbon cutting ceremonies and top-off ceremony video, we have digital animation videos, community engagement videos, program success stories, historical documentary, we have trainings and workshops, and also maritime stories. All of those are services that I actually sold. So I'm not just talking about it. I've done it. That's why I know you can do it. And there's so much more. There's so many other types of video production services that you can offer or sell, depending on, what the story is about the agency and what they're looking for. You can actually pitch some stuff, or you can actually look at the scope of work that they're actually looking for. And so those are the top 10. But I did want to share that with you. So if you're ready, if you're seriously in business and you've invested in high quality gear and all the right lighting and audio and all that stuff, and you don't know where those top paying customers are, it's the government. So if you haven't sold your services to the government yet, you definitely want to do that. You want to get in position. Now, there are some people who can, if I tell them to what, they'll take that and run with it and they'll figure out the how. And I've seen some people do that. I've told them the what, they went and figured it out, right? But the system that I designed, nobody has, because guess what? I designed it, I created it, I made it up, and I created it out of my own experience, a step-by-step system, something that's duplicatable, that all you have to do is implement, and you understand the full strategy, right? It's more to doing business with the government than just having your certifications. There's more to it. There's more than just going to look on beta.sam.gov. And so me as the insider, the person who's actually doing this, I can see where people are, and I know where you need the help. You need to help with the strategy. Most people are missing the strategy, right? The strategy and understanding how it all works together. That's not something that you can Google. You can't Google that. You're not going to Google a strategy. And if you could, let me know, because all of the years that I've been in doing government contracting, I had to create the strategy myself. Information is everywhere. You can easily get overwhelmed with information. You can easily spin your wheels. But, some people can run with it and figure it out. It took me several years to figure it out, but I designed a simple system to help others. And if you're interested in learning how to work with me or how to do this successfully, streamline that and be up and landing contracts in the next 6 months, this is very possible, landing multiple 6-figure contracts, then let me know. You can actually check out more information about my particular program. It's called the $1 Trillion Government Contracts Accelerator. You can check that out at $1trillion-governmentcontracts.com. I'll drop the link in the chat, but you can check that out at $1trillion-governmentcontracts.com. And I'm letting you know, 2021, we're building millionaires. That's it. That's all we're doing. So I'm only working with those who are serious, who don't come with excuses, who are ready to invest in themselves, and who are ready to do the work, because those are the ones that's going to get the results. If you want to work with me, I will help you and show you the exact system, the strategy, so you don't have to figure it out on your own. So be sure to join me in the $1 Trillion Government Contracts Accelerator. So check out $1trillion-governmentcontracts.com for more information about the program. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat before we go. I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have. Let's see. Where can you find these contracts at? That's Too Wavy Production. So where can you find these contracts? So they're everywhere. You'll find them mostly on your agency website. So for those who are going to, like, if you're like, oh, I'm SAM activated, I'm gonna go to beta.sam, that's like this big of the whole picture. This much. That's this much of this big picture, right? You're missing the picture. You're not gonna see nothing. You're not gonna see that. on beta.sam.gov. But if you go to your agency websites, like some of the agencies that I mentioned, maybe the Public Utility Commission, your city and county, there's so many different agencies, Office of Economic Workforce Development, maybe the port of your city. Like there's so many different agencies, but the actual agency sites, right? So the Department of Transportation, there's a bunch of different ones, whoever, the bus companies, the train companies, all those. So information is everywhere. Of course, there's some strategy that you have to have in order to understand what to do and how to do it. But just to answer your question, those are like some of the places you can actually look for those opportunities. But you have to know exactly what you're looking for as well. Let me see. What if you don't have all equipment? Well, if you're a video production company, you have to have some equipment, right? You have to have at least a light, a camera, and some way to edit. You have to have that, right? So if you don't have the equipment, you have to find a way to get it. There's equipment loan companies that will there's equipment rental companies, there's equipment there's what do you call that? There's lenders who will give you money to buy equipment. There's actually companies that you can buy the equipment. I'm trying to remember who did that. Like you can buy the equipment and then pay them in over months of time. I don't know how that works. I have all my own equipment, but it took me years to kind of build up. So I have tons of equipment. But if you don't have equipment, you have to get it. So then at least you know what you need. If you know that you don't have everything that you need, at least that's something that you should work towards getting, right? So do you give advice on financial management side once you start making? Yeah. So a little bit. So I'm not a financial expert at all. I just know how to make money, and those are some of the things that I've learned from my financial advisors, but I do have financial advisors that I can recommend of what to do, how to manage your money and everything like that. So I understand what to do with my money, but I'm not a financial expert to give like expert advice. I can only share my experience and what I've done. But I can recommend like some financial advisors that I believe are awesome, that have helped me learn how to make money, make your money work for you, because the money will come. And that's a really good question, because when it does come, it will come in abundance. And when it comes in abundance, like you have to break old habits of just spending. You have to learn how to break habits of, and create new habits of understanding like tax breaks and how to pay yourself and, save money. There's a bunch of different things that you can learn, of course. Do you give it? Okay, so that's it. Let's see. How far in advance are contracts? It depends, right? So it depends on when you're looking for things, when it's due. So it all depends. It varies, right? So you'll never find one answer to that, because you can go on and find a contracting opportunity that's due next week and it starts, maybe 90 days from then. So, but every opportunity is going to be different. But once you start landing them, definitely you don't want to just go after one. You want to go after multiple, because once you start landing the multiple anyway and simultaneously, none of that matters. None of that will matter eventually. Doing my first video this weekend, have lights but hired an extra cameraman. We shall see how first time goes. What? So you're doing your first video this weekend for who? Is it for a government agency, or you're just doing it for yourself? Let me know. All right. So what are any other questions before we go? Let me know. Hey, ask me while I'm here, because this is something that I can tell you from personal experience. I can give you the answer about video production and how to do that with the government and how much they pay. The pay is going to vary, but let's just say you can easily generate very part-time 6 figures in 6 months. I've done it multiple times, and you can do that. So all right. So do you have advice? Oh, I saw that question. Okay, cool. So I don't see any other questions popping up. But be sure to, check out more information about, if you're serious about getting ready and, to grow your business this year. Now is the best time to get in position, because last year the government spent $6.9 trillion on business services with small business owners. The year before, 2019. Last year in 2020, during the pandemic, they spent 9.9. So that's 3 trillion more, right? So what do you think is going to happen this year in 2021? It's only going to go up. It's only going to get better. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to really grow a business. So, oh, you're doing a music video. Yeah, well, hey, I remember I started there. I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. I started with, I used to do music videos. But what I learned was that artists don't really have money. So unless you're like Hype Williams and a really renowned video production company that's doing music videos, and you're doing it with the right type of artists, which are like artists who have budgets to pay you, you're really not making much money. So let me see. I don't have a production company, but I have a huge interest now. So super. Yeah. So get started. You can do anything that you want. Will you do a video on getting contracts being a notary? Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. For sure. I'm doing something totally different, but how feasible is it to navigate? I don't understand that question. So you're doing something different than video production, and you want to know how to navigate what? You want to know how to navigate becoming a video production company or servicing. I mean, you have to. Number one, I was on a show a couple of days ago, and we were talking about chasing revenue versus chasing your passion. And so I'm very passionate about video production. This is something that I've been doing like forever, went to school for it. And I realized that even as early as, a teenager, 11, 12 years old, when we had, what do you call those cassette tapes, like cassette tapes and VHS tapes and all that stuff. When they used to pop, I knew how to splice that thing together. That's called editing, right? So very off early, like video production and editing has always been a part of my fabric. And so you don't want to just jump into something just because it's it's good money. Because you can easily burn out, right? You want to find something that you're very passionate about, even if it's music. So I'm gonna tell you this, like, you can sell music services to the government, right? And land multiple six-figure contracts selling music to the government. I've seen it. I look at those type of opportunities all the time. So you want whatever it is that you're passionate about, that's what you want to do in business. That's what you want to do in selling to the government, right? So that you don't easily burn out, right? Because chasing money is one thing, but chasing your dreams and your passion is something else, and building a legacy is something else, and understanding what you're going to do with that money to build legacy and to maybe there's a bigger picture, right? So you want to look at the bigger picture. Yep, cool. All right. So you all have a nice day. I just gave you the government contracts, insights, and tips for video production companies. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you are in position to sell your services to the government, or maybe that's something that you're thinking about doing. You can definitely join me inside the $1 Trillion Government Contracts Accelerator Program. I'm always looking for those business owners who are ready to excel to the next level, because it can take off really fast. So I'll be hitting you up about getting equipment and getting started. I want to have an in-house production company for my speaking lifestyle business, but to also do this with the government contracts. Oh, cool. All right. So yeah. So definitely feel free to reach out. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll check you next time in the Friday Live.